Bowling with the top bowling stars of America. Brought to you by Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Top Star Bowling from the Hoffman Lanes here at Hoffman Estates, Illinois. I'm Jack Buck, and it's my pleasure to introduce the participants on the show today. They go for $1,000 in first prize money, $500 to the non-winner, and a very attractive LaSalle wristwatch for each of the men. This is a part of the $40,000 in prize money, which is changing hands here on Top Star Bowling. We have a King of the Hill type format where the winner stays around to take on yet another opponent. And we have a fellow who has won his last two times out. He's flirted with the 700. He is from St. Louis by way of Milwaukee, and he's a fellow to whom 700 series and 300 games are almost a commonplace thing. I'm putting the pressure on Mr. Al Savas. Al, come on up. Al, I'm going to talk you into that 700 series yet. You've come close the last 2 weeks.
Yes, I was. I don't know. I won't promise anything. I just hope I can give Ray a good match.
We've enjoyed watching you bowl, and I'm certain you're going to give us more to enjoy today. And now a pleasure to introduce a fellow for whom this is probably his biggest show on TV. He's a youngster out of St. Louis, 22 years old, but don't let the age fool you because he can bomb them out here. He's a St. Louis match game champion. He's averaged 200 in 5 years of ABC competition. You're going to enjoy watching Ray Orf. Ray, come on up. Ray, good to see you.
Thank you, Jack. Nice to be here.
Everything fine, and you're ready to go? How have you been hitting him in practice?
Well, I've been bowling fairly well. I hope to do well on the show.
Mm-hmm. You might have to bowl pretty well, Ray, to beat this fella because he's been hot out here.
Yes, I've seen him bowl the last 2 weeks. He's bowled very well.
Who's going to be starting, Al?
Yes, Al.
You won the toss?
No, I lost the toss, and I think Al elected to start on the left side.
So you can relax a little while longer, and then we'll be enjoying your bowling, Ray Orr. Best to you, buddy.
Thank you.
Shake hands. Come out, fighting men, for the 1,000. Al Savas and Ray Orf, and we're all set to go on Top Star Bowling. Al Savas has won the past 2 weeks. He bowled 668 to defeat Harry Smith, and then he disposed of Bob Strampy with the 683 series. That's why I've mentioned the 700s. Let's see how he starts on lane 29. And he carries a strike with
Ray Orf has. He's going for the 310. He's made it before, and how do you like to say the young fella gets started? Not that we're rooting for him over Al Savas. We're just here along with you primarily to enjoy the matches and appreciate good bowling. And that's what we've had over the weeks here on Top Star Bowling. I'm quite certain you'll agree. This is a 3-game match, total pins count. Ray Orf got started with a mark. Now looking for the strike, which Al Savas already has working for him. Ray gets that ball out there nicely and bombs a strike in there. He has a good deal of speed, as you've probably been able to discern. He's a pretty bowler to watch. He has some very picturesque actions at the approach and at the foul line.
Well, Brunswick Score Kings jumped right back up into the automatic.
In fact, we're going to be watching two very graceful performers right here. Striking a double, Al Savas. Might mention right here that this is, of course, an ABC-sanctioned series, Top Star Bowling. The lanes have been certified by the American Bowling Congress. And we've had some wonderful bowlers and fine performances and close matches over the weeks. Here's Al Savas trying to start with 3. As I mentioned, Al, like Ray Orf, is from St. Louis. Al, by way of Milwaukee, reaches way out with that ball, crosses over, gets a Bruckner. Now, remember, he did that last week, too, in defeating Bob Strampy. It's seldom that a fella will even throw on the Brooklyn side, a fellow of the caliber of Al Savas. And a mistake it was, but he cashes in on it, getting 3 in a row. Ray Orf picked a split for a spare, came back with a strike, looking for the double. He was pretty far outside, a pin hit, pretty good pin count, but he leaves the 2. Smoothness and speed seem to be combined on the part of this youngster. Ray Orf trying to bring this 2-pin back for his spare. He's got a long way to go in this game and in this match. And I imagine it'd be very difficult for Ray to completely relax. Gets the 2-pin. But maybe now that he has a few frames under his belt and has shown himself that he can mark and strike, why, might give us his very best effort. This is the story of athletics when you're thrown into strange circumstances, and these circumstances are strange for Ray. Some rise to the top, come to the fore. Others tend to lag, and I would guess that it would be the former that we can apply to this fellow. He stamps his foot, and he gets a Brookline. Whitey, he's big enough so that the stamp of the foot could mean something.
That's true, Jack. I was thinking a little note on him. Did you notice how he was, don't you feel proud he was calling you Mr. Buck and me Mr. Harris?
Felt pretty old. Here's Al Savas looking for 4. Well, Al's a bit in betwixt and between. Previously of Brooklyn, and now he comes back and a thin hit fails to carry the 2-8. That stops his string at 3. And a bit of the advantage, although not the lead, goes back to Orf, who already has his strike in the 4th and can cash in on it with a double in the 5th. Shooting at the 2-8. There's Savas. First spare of the game for Al. When I mentioned those 300 games, Al has had a total of 10 sanctioned 300 games, 33 perfect games altogether.
One of those 300s, Jack, determined the championship for his team in a Bowling Proprietors Association tournament just a couple of years ago.
He's a great team man as well as an individual performer. Let's see if he can get on one again. He's right on the nose. And throughout, this being his 3rd week, Al has shown the ability to avoid those splits. That ball of his churning away has been mixing them up and carrying for them, even on the nose hits. He has gone through a total of 6 games, this being his 7th, and he has had no opens so far. But the only thing he's had to shoot at has been the baby splits, and he's done that 3 or 4 times and converted them all. He reaches out for the 6-pin, and he gets it. There's a lot to learn from watching a fellow like Al Savas. Ray Orf, he's working on a strike and bowling in the 5th frame, looking for a double, and he might be there. There he is with a double. A very fine working ball. Turning through there, Whitey, his first double, and Mr. Savas, and of course he knew this at the outset, is in the middle of a pretty good battle. He starts well back on the approach. Straight up and squared away. Off with the left foot. A 5-step approach, the good follow through in the pocket, and a 3-bagger for him. 3 in a row for Ray, matching the 3 that Al Savas had at the outset. Al responds with a tap. Laid one right in the pocket. And had a ringer, that 6-pin wrapped right around that 10. Giving Al 116 through the 5th. Trying to spare in the 6th. $1,000 to the winner in this session. $500 to the loser. The LaSalle wristwatch for each. Reaching right out for that 10-pin is Al Savas. Let's try to interpret Al's bowling style as he moves over to 29 and rolls in the 7th frame. You'll notice that he, like Ray, will be squared away with that foul line. And as he moves down the approach and to the foul line, he continues to get lower and lower. He has to be way down there with the knee bent in order to be effective. Down he goes, out it goes, down low, the lift, and the strike. Al will tell you that when he gets in trouble, more often than not, it's because he's too high when he releases that ball. Pretty far out, and that one didn't get there. The 1-2-8 remains. He's trying to root for that ball, but rooting doesn't do much good unless you put it down in the proper spot and get it out there properly. The pin finder tells us that the 8-pin is standing back there. The 1-2-8. I Ideally, he should cross over to the Brooklyn side, but not too far so as to drive through and actually cover that 1-2-8. Driving in there, and there he is. There's a spare, so no opens. And he actually is ahead by 1 pin in the game right now. However, Savas has a strike in the 7th, and Orf has a spare. Trying to get back on a strike in the 8th is Ray Orr. Beautiful. That is his 5th strike of the game. It's a 3-game match. We're at the Hoffman Lanes, just outside of Chicago, Illinois. Top Star Bowling. We've got a good one on our hands. Savas looking for a double. He's the 7-pin. Savas has 4 strikes. Ray Orf has 5. Al started with 3 in a row. Orf put 3 together here in the middle of the game. Orf has a strike working in the 8th. Savas trying to spare. A spare. Al has been up amongst the top money winners along the PBA touring trail. 9th frame now for Savas. That's what you're supposed to do in the 9th frame. Get one to work on. Savas has it. Orf would like to do the same. If he does, it'll be a double. Ray Orf could go on to a 247 game. Al Savas could finish with 6 if they both strike out. Remember, he was outside here before, and now he's on the nose, and the 10-pin goes down, and the 3-6 remains. So often you find it like that, where a fellow will be outside with 1 pitch and come back and be too much the other direction on the next, like as if he were zeroing in with mortar fire or something of the sort. This is the 9th frame for Ray. He could pick up the spare, giving him 177. He gets it, and he could still go on to a 227 game if he were to pop 3 here in the roll-off.
On his follow-through, he don't come up as high as normally a person of his height would be. Just about a belt high when he lets go of the ball, or after the ball leaves his hand.
A lot of times the fellows with the exaggerated follow-through have a tendency to top that ball and turn it over. As long as you get it out there well enough. There's the 10-pin. 196 now through the 9th. 216 would be his best. Al Savas, if he were to strike out, could finish with 236. He had a 236 last week in defeating Bob Strampy. So those totals are not unusual. Let's see if Ray gets his spare. Yep, he's there. He throws so hard that he made a few people whistle. It looked like he was driving it right into the trough off to the right. Well, we'll get a strike on the other lane. Now he needs the 10 count for 216, which wouldn't be a bad beginning for this young man. But believe me, he's bowled higher than that. Mr. Orr finishes with 215. .215. Now let's see what Al's going to do about it. If he doesn't strike, this thing will be all but even. He's had only 1 strike on 30 so far this game. Whoops, where are you going, Al? On the nose and leaves only the 6-pin. And once again, he avoids those splits. Now he has to bring this back and get a 10 count for 216, and he'd be only 1 pin ahead. So we've got something going here. And you do too, because you're tuned in, and we certainly hope you're enjoying Top Star Bowling. Reaching right out for the 6, Savas spares in the 10th. Now he needs a 10 count for a 1-pin lead. Whitey, if my memory is correct, this lane 30 is the one that he really hit last week.
Yeah, well, I think he'll hit it, Jack. It's just a matter of which way he's going to run now.
lifted. He got hung off of that ball. So Ray Orf is the leader at the end of the first game as he comes back with 213. Well, it's 213 for Al Savas, 215 for Ray Orf. Where are we going to go from here? Right now, a message and back to visit with one of the bowlers here at the Hoffman Lanes.
Ray Orf is off to a good start in this match, leading by 2 pins at the end of the first game. And Ray, the thing I'd like to chat about right now, Whitey and I have mentioned the junior bowling program, and you're perhaps one of the first real fine examples of what can come of that program. How long were you involved?
Well, Jack, I started in the junior program in St. Louis right as they more or less got it off the ground about 8 years ago. And it's developed very well since then. And I know now back home, just about every bowling lane has a Saturday junior program where with qualified instructors to help the youngsters get started in the game.
As you look back on that program now and the years in which you were involved, what were the
youngsters a break in the price, which allows them to bowl more often, and which, you know, the way bowling is now, they would not be able to do, being so young and not working and everything. And they give them a break in the price, and it gives them more opportunity to bowl.
And then with the qualified instruction, they learn the proper procedures right from the word go.
Right. They teach them the fundamentals of the game, the 4-step and 5-step approaches, the arm swing and everything.
Who knows, maybe one of those sessions that you spent in that junior bowling program might be the thing that's allowing you to be out in front of Al Savas.
Well, it sure helps, I know.
And maybe stay out there, but we're going to have to wait and see. Ray, good luck as we continue along.
Thank you.
And good luck to you as well, Al Savas. Couldn't be much closer, 215, 213. Second game, Top Star Bowling.
I hope we didn't make Ray too nervous out there chatting with him. Let's see how he starts here in the second game on 29. After finishing the first game in pretty good style. Hey! Whitey, were you able to interpret what happened? That 7-pin came back and cracked that 4-pin down. But where did the 7-pin come from?
It probably jumped right back out of the pit, Jack. This will happen every once in a while with a pin, and especially with his ball, the way it churns in there.
I don't think my eyes are that quick, but it appeared the ball hit the 7 in the pit and knocked it back out again. Let's see if Savas gets out. He leaves the 4-pin. That 7-pin spun around behind it, and he didn't get it. So Orf is off and running on a strike, and the best Savas can do is a spare.
As you were describing that action of Orf's ball, that's what actually happened. That can happen, Jack, where a pin can hit a ball and bounce back out.
It actually looked like his ball was over in the extreme left-hand corner of the pit. Hit the 7-pin, it came out and got the 4. But let's work on what we're seeing right now. There's an Al Savas spare. He started with 213. They each had 5 strikes in the first game. Savas left a solid 10-pin and a solid 7-pin. Al has gone through 7 games without an open. Little wonder he's still around here on Top Star Bowling. Working on a spare, he gets a strike. I want to point it out again because you can probably hear the thump-thump of that ball as it goes down. He is rolling over the thumb hole, and he's trying to do that. Al explained to us that he thinks the best way for him to maintain his speed and hold the line is to turn the ball in that particular fashion. But don't you worry about that. He knows what he's doing. Let's see if Orf gets the double. Man, he throws hard. There's his double. This fellow has to fit into the Dick Hoover class with regard to throwing the ball hard, Whitey.
Jack, and actually, and since he's been under the tutelage or following the pros, he's cut down on his speed. He used to throw harder than this.
Well, the ball wouldn't have a chance to do anything. And he throws effortlessly, as you see. He's looking for 3 to start this game. He's on the nose and gets the split. You see, there's a difference in the type of ball and how important it is. The 6-7 looks at him, and he was on the nose, and Al Savas has been there. But Al doesn't get those splits. Let's see what Ray can do about it. He'll be moving way over to the left and trying to pick it. So he was on a double looking for 3, and he comes up with a split. He had a split in the first game, but it was a baby split, and he was able to pick it. What do you think? What do you think? Oh, he came very close. He Came very close. I don't think he's the least bit upset about the circumstances here, Whitey. I'm going to stop worrying about him. I don't think Al Savas is, though. Savas looking for the double. Reaching way out there, dancing around, and carries. Spare and a double for Savas, who is down by a couple of pins, and as a result of the Orf Open, it sounds like a golf tournament, doesn't it? The Orf Open. Savas goes out in front. Squared away at that foul line. Down low, out with the ball, the lift, out of the nose. And see the getaway he gets because of the type of ball he's throwing? Now, he was more on the nose there, Whitey, than Ray Orf was.
If you remember that actually in the first game, Al was having trouble with that lane. All his pitches have been up high, and I thought perhaps when he got that strike in the second frame that he was on his way because he hit a solid one.
Usually for these pros, it takes only one or two hits to tell them what they've been doing wrong. There's his spare, nonetheless. 68 through the third with the spare up, and now Ray Orf tries to get back on one. He started with a double and then opened. Boy, that was a driver, wasn't it? This kid's good to watch, whether he wins or loses. Little wonder that bowling has come to be the spectator sport that it has, and only recently.
Not only good to watch, Jack, you can hear the sound of the pin.
Yeah, you're right. That is a thrilling sound. You can almost close your eyes and tell when a fellow is in that pocket. Close your eyes, Whitey, and tell me what he gets with this hit. Don't say the 3-6-10 or I'll knock you off the roster up here.
The 3-6-10.
Very good. And Ray's going to have to bring this back. He was working on a strike. He failed a double, and that hurt him a bit because he is down in the match right now.
Should I open my eyes? I still got them shut.
Stay like that for a little while. Only got a game and a half to go. He covers his spare. Savas rolling now in the fifth frame. He's working on a spare. And the 7-pin. He had 2 or 3 pins working for him over in that direction, but couldn't carry. So Orf has had 3 strikes in this game so far. Savas has had 2. Ray has had the only open, and that's the difference, and it represents the pin differential, which is 10 right now. Savas bringing this back for a spare in the 5th. He's in his 8th game without an open here on Top Star Bowling. No misses, no splits that he failed to convert. 6th frame now. Savas started with 213, Orf with 215. There he is, with a strike. 107 through the 5th, with a strike up for Savas. One peculiarity about Al Savas. Oftentimes, he never watches his opponent throw the ball. Never watches the ball. He's usually looking down or looking at the scoreboard or turn around checking the audience. He's looking down at the floor right now and mopping his face with a towel. And he missed a pretty strike. I don't know whether it's too disheartening for him or what. And I wouldn't want to mention it to him when we talk to him at the end of this game for fear it might prey upon his mind. So we'll just let you in on it. You can enjoy it as we go along. Here's Orf. He's had 1 double. He missed a chance to double earlier. Has another opportunity right here. They each have a strike working in the 6th. No 4-pin. Somebody whistled. I don't know if there was Ray or someone in the audience when he let that ball go. I didn't think it was going to get anywhere near where it finally ended up going into the pocket. So he missed a chance to double again, and that, of course, is extremely important when you're up against a fellow like Al Savas. There's the spare. So Al Savas has 107 through the fifth with a strike up, and Ray Orf has 116 through the sixth. He is working on a spare. Al Savas started this game trailing by 2 pins. He now leads by 9 pins in the match and a chance to increase it with a double. He has a strike working, and he seemed to throw that one away. Yes, he did. And leaves the 1-2-4-10. 1-2-4-10 for Al Savas. And we've been saying all along that he hasn't had an open so far. This is his 8th game here on Top Star Bowling, 2 complete matches, and now this being his 2nd game. And he's got to cross over on the Brooklyn side and take that 10 pin with the head pin. This is his roughest spare so far. Is he there? There, boy, Al. And he knows he needs it.
I don't think he's conscious of this wonderful series of games he's bowling, Jack. I think he wanted that because of that fellow sitting on the bench ready to pop some strikes.
All right, this keeps it close and keeps Savas out in front by some 9 pins. Now on 29 in the 8th frame. He's on the nose, and suddenly, there he is with the 4-7-9-10. Where'd the ball go? Where'd the ball go? Where did that red crown jewel disappear to?
Jack, some
4, 7, 9, 10.
Excuse me, bro. Comments from the people that are left. How's he going to get it?
He can get it. Light hit on that 4. He moved them both, but he didn't get them. But the folks still like it. Well, that makes this match all but even. And if Orf can hit, he'll have a chance to go ahead again. Ray Orf now in the 8th frame. Pops that ball out and in for a strike. Giving him 136 through the 7th. Only 7 pins down through the 7th, but Savas opened in the 8th. Orf has his strike. If he can get this important 9th frame strike, it'll mean a double. Set him up for the roll-off. Little doubt but that Al Savas would have to be considered the favorite at the start of this particular match as a result of his experience. Orf in the 9th. Whoop, he's on the nose, but a getaway leaves a 6-10. Failed to double, however. It seems that regardless of what happens, the 3rd game is going to start almost Orf and Orf. Even.
Sound like Orf and Annie.
6-10 confronting Ray Orf, who's trying to spare here in the 9th. There he is.
Comical, Jack, to listen on our left here, the comment, the people, some of them were rooting for that ball to come back. It'll come back all right.
Ray was trying to keep it from coming back too much and chopping. Now Savas trying to get that strike to work on. 9th frame. And he's in the groove again. From my angle, I didn't think that he was going to carry that 5-pin. I didn't think that ball was going to go through enough to carry the 5-pin. But it did, as you saw. Now, the 10th frame. Savas can go on to a 2-0-1 game right here. He bowled 213 in our opener. He's got to pop 3 of them. He's on the nose, but gets it. That's his double. His 2nd double of this game, his 4th strike of the game. Orf started with a double, but has been unable to put 2 together since. Orf can have 206. Savas can have 201. He didn't carry this one. Leaves a 3-6-10. 178 through the ninth. Need these 3 pins for 198. This one's going to be head and head when we go into that third game. There's his 10 count in the 10th frame for 198. So 213 and 198 for Al Savas. On this basis, he's going to be lower than he has been the past 2 weeks when he bowls 668 to dispose of Harry Smith, and then he knocked Bob Strampy out of top star bowling with the 683 series. Orf looking for 3, and he leaves a 7. Gives Ray 175 through the ninth, has to bring this back, and then a 10 count for 195, and it will be 411 to 410 in favor of Al Savas if it happens that way. Each man has had an open. There is his spare. Now he needs 10 to get within 1 of Al Savas. Ray finishes with 195 for 410, and Al Savas at the end of 2 games, 213, 198, 411. And Ray Orf, 215, 195, 410. How close can it get? Even the bowlers are talking about the closeness of the match. Right here, a message, and then back, and we'll chat with Al Savas about this young upstart who is after him here at the Hoffman Lanes. Al Savas, you went until the 8th frame of your 8th game here on Top Star Bowling before you opened.
We finally got it, didn't we, Jack?
And I know that I didn't put the hex on you because I've been talking about it all along. And I thought you got that split.
I kind of thought I'd make it too. It hit both of them, but not quite hard enough.
Uh-huh. Al, I know that you must have a kind word to say about your opponent here.
Oh, Ray? Well, Ray and a lot of other young bowlers are really... Makes me feel good because it's good to see the youngsters take up the game. And eventually I'm going to have to retire with a lot of other fellas. I just hope they don't make it too early.
Uh-huh. They add a certain freshness to the sport, which is already a fresh sport in itself.
That's right. That's what makes bowling such a great game.
Yeah. Now what do we have to look forward to in this third game? Al, any predictions, or shall we just allow you to get started?
I don't know. I just hope that jewel of mine keeps shining.
You want that other 1,000?
I'd like to have it, yes.
Okay, Al, good luck to you in your final game.
Thank you, Jim.
And to you, Ray Orf. Now, the final game here on Top Star Bowling.
Al Savas started his first game with a strike, started his second game with a spare. And he starts his third game with a split. Well, that's running the gamut, isn't it? Strike, spare, split, 310. This, if memory serves correct, is the 4th time he's been confronted with this situation. And it should provide a little incentive to Ray Orf, who trails by a pin as this third and final game gets underway as they shoot for $1,000. There you go, Al. I believe that's the 4th time he's picked that. Am I correct with my numbers, Whitey?
That's right, Jack. Yes, I'm counting it up.
He's had 4 310s, and he's brought them all back. Now Ray Orf. And the 10 pin. Was it only my imagination, or did he really fire that ball, Whitey? He seemed to throw that harder than he has been.
It could have been, Jack. Now, this is probably where it reacts more on a young pro like this than on Al, that he's going to increase that speed as it gets a little tighter.
And all of these top star bowlers have told us that natural tendency in any sort of competition is to throw just a bit harder. They don't want to do it, but it happens that way. So a spare for each man in the first frame, and they keep it extremely close. Orf had 215 and 195, 410. Al Savas, 213, 198, 411. Savas off the pace, which he set the past couple of weeks, but that matters not right here because he either wins 1,000 or 500. Ray Orf over on 29, standing in the very rear of the approach. 5-step delivery. Glide on the end, and he roots for the ball to come over and gets the 10-pin. And he well could have had a double right here. When this is close, one man sees the other and drop the 10 of them. He knows he's got to stay right along with him. So, Al Savas did just about what you expected him to do. Al Savas, one of the leading money winners annually in bowling. Uses a much shorter approach than his opponent. The 4-step approach rather than the 5, and no 7-pin, no double. So Orf can go ahead in the 3rd frame.
That actually was the best pitch that Al has made in about 4 shots on that left lane, Jack. He finally came in contact with the head pin where he could have got a strike there.
He moves to the Ray Orf is also using a crown jewel, as is Al Savas. Oh, boy. He could have 3. He's got the double. He's out in front. Looking for the 3-bagger. How about that? The kid showing you something? Starts with a spare and comes up with 3. Savas is working on a spare, and he's in the 4th frame. Al Savas. Knew he made a wild pitch. Gets away from the split as a 7-pin and falls, and he leaves a 6-10. You know what oftentimes happens, Whitey? Now, maybe you'll disagree with me. Here a youngster takes on a fellow like Savas who has the reputation. Savas, of course, is saying, I've got to beat this young kid to maintain my reputation and to show him. And the kid is saying, oh, what the heck? And he's free and easy and popping him in there. There's the spare for Savas. I know I've seen it in the past where the lesser opponent is quite loose, realizing that the odds are stacked against them, and being free and easy and loose, he's throwing his normal ball and scoring as high as possible.
That's probably true here, and actually when you're freewheeling like Orf, the strikes seem to come, Jack.
And then you get the strikes and you build your confidence. Go from there. Savas has to get on a couple right here. And he does. 78 through the 4th with a strikeout. Orf has picked up 10 pins in this game and leads by 9 in the match. Started with a spare. He's put 3 of them together. And he's looking for his 4th strike of the game here in the 5th frame. And another 10-pin. That's his second 10-pin he's left over there. This one's going to go right down to the wire, you would almost imagine. There's the spare for Orf. Yeah, when Al Savas gets a strike, he could string them together until it's time to raid the icebox. Knuckleball that time. It started to go and then started to skid and came back in. Failed to carry the 7-pin. He needed that double to close the gap. Now the best he can do is spare in the 6th, and Orf already has his strike in the 6th. So things more and more seem to be in favor of the challenger here on Top Star Bowling this week. We've seen some wonderful bowlers and some fine bowling here over the weeks. Savas in the 7th. 7-pin again. That 7-pin is the stopper as far as he's concerned. He left a 7 back in the 3rd frame, and this is his 3rd one of the game. Going to bring this back for his spare in the 7th is Al Savas. And he does. You notice how Mr. Savas has that good habit of reaching right out for that pin at which he's throwing. Ray Orr with a strike. He could put himself in a tremendous position with a double right here. This is perhaps his most important ball of the match so far, and he might be there. There he is. He'd been failing to carry the 10-pin over there previously. But this time he bombed one in doubles and springs out in front to a 30-pin lead, which he could better right here. So you can bowl like this, maybe not right now, but could come close eventually, even if you've never bowled before. Talking about the Learn to Bowl program that most proprietors have going now. Oh, that's his third 10-pin. That was a ringer. That 6-pin jumped up and wrapped right around that 10. Now he's got to bring this back for his spare, but he's still in pretty good shape. Not to discount, however, the great ability of Al Savas. This is the 8th frame for Ray Orf. Pin. It's always great when you see an athlete who can combine Here's Al Savas. And you just know how he's bearing down right now. Threw that one away. Leaves the 1-2-4-8, bowling in the 8th frame. And this one's rapidly coming to a close. That's one of the worst pitches that Al has made in 3 weeks here on Top Star Bowling.
Looks like he might have rushed the foul line, Jack, as his approach has been very even.
He got that 8-pin. And he gets a spare. It gives him 133 through the 7th. They each have a spare in the 8th. It's a 35-pin difference right now. Savas fails to strike in the 9th. And there's no hurry on it. We can just enjoy it here along with the viewers and those in the audience here at the Hoffman Lanes. Now Savas has to bring this back and then strike out for 200. He had only a 1-pin lead at the start of the game. It appears that all Ray Orf needs is a mark.
That's right, Jack. Just one mark, and of course, the way he's bowling, why it's possible this won't be any problem at all.
A mark in either one of the 2 remaining frames that he has.
That's correct.
9th frame for Ray Orr. Maybe that does it. Hey, a beautiful strike to wrap things up for him. Ray's going to be the winner here on Top Star Bowling. 188 through the 8th with a strike up. All he needs is a couple of pins right now because the best Al Savas can do is strike out for 200. Ray in the roll-off. He's had 6 strikes. That makes it 7. And he could go on to a good total right here. 248. Which would give him a 658 series. He needs this hit right here, however, to come close to those figures.
Jack, when he strikes, he puts those scorkins right back into the box.
Oh, yeah, they don't lie around when he pops them. A little high, leaves a 4-pin. So his best is 237, and his best today is going to be good enough. He's 647 with this pin. The best that Savas can do is 200 in this game and 611. So a very decisive victory for Ray Orr. $1,000 for the youngster in his first big appearance on national TV. And once again, Savas is out there. Savas had defeated Harry Smith and Bob Strempy. He now has 166 through the ninth. Has to bring this back and get a 10 count for 186, and he will not have broken the 600 mark. Shooting the 1-2-4-7 at the rail and gets it. 186 is the potential for Al. Al's a great guy, and you know, he rather typifies these top star bowlers whom we have encountered over the weeks. Very humble winners and gracious losers. He leaves the 5-pin on his final toss, finishes with 185. Ray Orf has won the match with a 647 total, and it's 596 for Al Savas. It'll be time to present the prizes, the $1,500 in prize money, and meet the bowlers once again when we come back in a moment. $647 to $596. This fellow is a wonderful bowler to watch and a great guy to be with. He was with us for the 2 previous weeks. He was today, but nonetheless, we'd like to call him up here to present his prizes to him. Al Savas, folks. Al, you looked a little weary at the tail end there.
Well, the amount of strikes he threw at me tired me out. Didn't tire him much, but it got to me.
Big, strong fella, and he did deserve the victory. And
that's right. He
I know that
bowled well.
You're a very gracious loser, although you didn't want to lose.
No, but now let him worry about how long he might have stayed on.
Okay, fine, Al. Here's a very attractive LaSalle watch for you. And the amount of the check is a little different than it has been. Nonetheless, it's $500, and again, congratulations.
Fine. Thank you, Jack. It's certainly been a pleasure for me to be on the show.
Best of luck to you along the bowling trail, Al Savas. Well, about an hour ago, I told you this fellow was from St. Louis and just a youngster, and this is perhaps his biggest TV appearance, and he made the most of it, didn't he? Ray Orr. Ray? Nice going, big man.
Thank you, Jack.
You were nervous at the beginning, weren't you?
Oh, yes, I was. Very much so.
You might as well admit it now that you've overcome it and
No,
made
that's
the most
right.
of it. Here's the LaSalle wristwatch for you, Ray.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And the check for $1,000.
Thank you.
And to reiterate, the junior bowling program probably played a big, big part in it. And, Ray, we hope that this victory gives you confidence to go on to great, great heights in this game of bowling.
Thank you very much, Jack.
Thank you. Ray Orr, folks. Well, once again, the final was 647 to 596. We've been here at the Hoffman Lanes here at Hoffman Estates, Illinois, for Top Star Bowling. And we certainly hope that you have enjoyed this match as you have those in the past. Don't forget to be with us once again when we present Top Star Bowling. And now Jack Buck says thanks for your time this time. Till next time, so long. Top Star Bowling has been presented by LaSalle, the Precision Jeweled Watch. Bowling equipment by Brunswick, the #1 name in bowling. Top Star Bowling is sanctioned by the American Bowling Congress.